We're ready to start stage 3 of our shed. Our first step is to create a wall section. The wall section is going to show you like a picture of the inside of the wall. So we're going to go to floor plan, under view tab, we're going to do a section tool. We're going to put the outside face and then the inside face. So I'm going to go to floor plan floor. Okay, I'm going to go to view. And then we're doing a section view. And I'm going to go from outside the wall to inside the wall. Now if I come over here on the left, you can see where it's added a thing for sections. If I hit the plus on that, it shows me I have section 1. If I double click on it, I can see that I have my section here. And you can see that I had the roof slope. Okay, it says open this section thing, which we have, adjust the crop box, and change detail level to fine, and 1/2 to 1. So we're going to edit this crop box a little bit. So mine looks pretty good. And then we're going to change detail level, I believe it's this one, to fine. Okay. And it said change it to 1/2 to 1, so right now it's 1/4. So I'm going to go 1/2 to 1. Okay, so now I've taken care of everything here. It wants me to select one of my walls with siding and change basically that interior layer. Right now it says it's a metal stud. We want to change that to a 4-inch piece of lumber. Okay, and it says make sure the plywood sheathing's at 1/2 inch. We're going to go like work on that wall a little bit. So I'm going to click on that wall. Good news is it's already the wall with siding that we wanted, so I'm going to go in and hit edit. When I edit, it opens up. I'm going to hit, I want to edit the structure. If I do preview, it shows me what I'm looking at. So it has its horizontal siding. They said the plywood sheathing should have been 1/2 inch. So I'm going to delete that 3/4 and change it to 1/2. And they wanted to get rid of this metal stud layer and change it to a 4-inch layer of wood. So I'm going to do the ... there. And I'm going to come up here and search and type in, I think it said softwood lumber, and there it is. And then hit OK. Now it's softwood lumber at 4 inches. And then I'm going to hit OK. And OK. Right? So you can tell it kind of shrunk up my wall a little bit because I made it a little thinner from 6 inches to 4 inches. Okay, coming back into here. It says we should look at the floor. It wants us to duplicate the floor and basically just make the floor just a 6-inch thick layer of concrete. Okay, so we need to go in here with our floor. We're going to click our floor. I'm going to come in here and edit. We're going to duplicate it. I'm going to name it shed floor. I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to hit edit. And really all it wants is a 6-inch layer of concrete. So I'm going to delete that top layer. I'm going to delete that bottom layer. I'm going to change this to 6 inches. And I'm going to change this material to concrete by just searching for concrete. Concrete cast in place. That seems right. And I'm going to hit OK. And it makes it just 6 inches of concrete, and I'll hit OK. And OK again. And now if you can tell our floor is less thick, and now it's just concrete. It does say we might want to go ahead and recheck to make sure that our floor is lining up with the faces of our walls. So let's go do that under floor plan floor. And let's see if we can choose our floor. I'm going to hit tab. There we go. So there's my floor. It looks like, I feel like it's lined up pretty well with the outside faces of my walls. If you look, it's highlighted all the way around. So I think we're in a good spot there. Then come back to my section view. And then we're going to annotate using text. We're going to do the 2 segments, and we're going to label everything. So basically it's having us label all the components of our roof and our walls and our floor. Okay, so we're going to label these things. So I'm going to go annotate, text. It wanted me to do the one with the 2 arrows. And then I'm just going to click on the top, come over, click, and on this very outside part would be shingles. Let's see if it says anything else about what it wants me to say about the shingles. It says asphalt shingles, so we'll add that. Asphalt shingles. Okay, so now we have asphalt shingles labeled. Let's see. I guess I could do it in order. Then it has me have it do the 1/2-inch gypsum wallboard. That's the drywall on the very inside of your wall. So let's do that. So I'm going to point to the inside of my wall. Come out. Come out. And it was what? A 1/2-inch gypsum wallboard. Half-inch gypsum wallboard. Next thing it wants is the cedar siding. That's going to be on the very outside of my walls. So I've got that. So now I'm going to point on the outside of my wall. Call that cedar siding. Okay. So now I've got my cedar siding. Next it wants the 1/2-inch plywood sheathing. And that's going to be on my roof and my wall. Have that 1/2-inch plywood sheathing. My floor does not have it anymore because now it's just concrete. So that's going to be underneath my shingles. And that's going to be the 1/2-inch plywood sheathing. So I'm going to add that in there. I'm going to add that exact same comment here on the inside of my walls underneath this siding. Okay. Now that I've added those, let's see what it wants me to add next. It wants me to add the 2x4 studs at 24 inches OC. So the studs would be in the walls. So let's label that. So I'm going to go 2x4 studs at 24 inches off center. Okay, so there's that. What's next? 2x8 rafters at 24 inches off center, so it's going to be up in our roof. So I'm going to go 2x8 rafters at 24 inches off center. Then it wants the asphalt shingles, which was what I did at the very beginning, and then a 6-inch concrete slab. So that's going to be pointing at the floor. 6-inch concrete slab. Okay. Alright, so at this point we've labeled everything on our wall section. It does want us to go in and add this insulation. So under annotate, you can click on insulation under details and just edit the thickness to make it match. And we're going to label it as insulation. So I'm going to come into annotate again. Under detail, I see insulation. Okay, if I look at the insulation right now, it fills the thickness of my wall beautifully, so I'm going to go ahead and just add that. I want to make it a little thicker for my roof. So right now it says its width is 3.5. So for my roof, I'm going to make that closer to 8. So I'm going to go with 7. And then I'm just going to add it going up along the slope of my roof. And now I can go annotate and do text to label the fact that I put in that insulation. So the head has added the insulation there, and then I'm again going to do the same thing in the wall. Okay, and it looks like I accidentally undo out of that. Alright, so now it says I can turn off my crop box for the section view. It says I don't need to see that anymore. So I'm going to click on this crop box and then come down here to the bottom and say hide crop region. I don't need to see it. Okay. Now it wants me to open the elevation view and annotate the roof slope using a detail line tool, detail panel, and text. And you can select the roof and change the slope value if you want to. It says it's a 912 right now. So I'm going to go into an elevation view. I'm going to use this front one with the door. You can see it has a 912 slope. So I'm going to annotate with a detail line. And I'm going to draw out that right triangle here along the slope. So I'm going to go up, over, down. So there's my right triangle. And then I can go back to annotate and do some text. And I'm just going to do 912. So I don't really want the arrows for this one, so I'm going to click text and go no leader line. So 12 on top. And I can always move that. Can also change the size down to make it a little smaller so it makes sense on the picture. Right. Yeah. And then 9 along the other side. And put my 9 over there. Oh, did it again. So change it to the other size. And now there is my roof slope. Alright, so that gets you there. Now we're going to move all that stuff over to the drawing and you should be good. Alright, our last step is moving this section view over to our sheet. So let's come back into Revit, click on our sheet. We need to move stuff around a little bit because I'm going to need it to fit on here. I'm also going to go in and hide in these views the okay, so there's our floor plan view, east elevation, and now if you notice it has our roof slope, north elevation, and then 3D view. I'm going to go in and hide the topography in those views. So just click on a tree, right click, hide in view that whole category. Come into our elevations, right click, hide in view that entire category. It still leaves us with our sweet roof slope. 3D view. Can I maybe change the crop box on this to make it a little less intense? Maybe that'll help. So see how the crop box right now with this 3D view is all the way out to here. Let's make that smaller. So I really only want to see for my 3D view just this little area. Alright. Okay, so now if I go back to my sheet, look how much nicer things are. So I'm going to pop this 3D view over here. That should give me, hopefully, a good amount of space for this section view. I guess I also need to go into my north elevation and hide my topography. So right-click, hide in view, that whole category. Alright, so now I am ready to go add my section over here. So I'm going to go section view, click and drag it over. Looks like it's going to be pretty big. I might have to make it smaller if I need to. So see how big it is right now? I'm going to change that scale to make it fit a little nicer. So right now it's the 1/2 to 1. So I'm going to come back into this section view. Instead of 1/2 to 1, I'm going to go down to 1/4 to 1 and see if that helps. It's not quite helping me. Wondering if I should change the size of my text. So I wonder if I can choose all these at the same time. Or choose a bunch of them anyway. So I chose all those, and I'm going to make them the smaller font size. Now let's see how that looks on my sheet. There we go. So now I can see my section view and I can see all the labels. So this is what you're going to end up turning in on Google Classroom.